Anna, I can take over for Rita if she's good, if it's going to take a bit for her to get on.
Yeah, well, I can start with my little spiel. So just want to let everybody know that this is the webinar is being recorded. The recording and the slide presentation will be sent out after the meeting for everyone that wasn't able to attend or would like to revisit the information. The chat feature is available for any questions. Co-Claver will be collecting the questions, and we will answer as many as we can live at the end of the presentation if time permits. Any others will be answered via email. And let's see if Rita's connected yet. No. Dave, you want to introduce the caller, the panelists on?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce everybody that's on the panel today from the board of directors. Rita Jo will be joining us shortly. She is our chairman of the board, chairwoman of the board, excuse me, from District 1. From District 2, we have Benno Doby, and Benno wasn't quite sure when he'd be able to join us, so I don't think he's on currently. Diana Roy is coming on, Lane DeVries, Mike Milano from Milano and Company, Renee Van Wingerden from Ocean Breeze. Renee is also our treasurer. Mike is our board vice chair of the board. District 3 is FJ from Continental Floral Greens. District 4 is Frank Onoski from Texas Specialty Cut. District 5, Michael Genovese from Summer Dreams Farms. District 6, Andrea Gagnon from Lindell Studios. District 7, David Register from Fern Trust, and Eric Hagstrom from Alban Hagstrom and Sons. Both David and Eric won't be able to attend today. And our industry advisor is Co-Claver from Botanical Trading Company. And he is also the board secretary, and Co is managing our chat part of the presentation in the meeting today. Many, if not almost all of these people that I just introduced have different parts of committees, and they will be speaking to you later in the meeting about their respective committees. Is Rita Jo available yet, Anna?
No. So you can introduce us.
Yeah, and then as staff, you have myself, Dave Pruitt, and Anna Callens. So you see Anna most of the time, and she's running the slides, and looks like I'm filling in for Rita Jo right now until we can get her live and connected. Go ahead with your opening remarks. We're on today's agenda is the page we're on.
Okay, well, here's my opening remarks, okay? When I first was elected to chair, I thought, wow, this is a really big deal, and I hope I'm able to do this. Then along came our phenomenal staff, our director, David Pruitt, and our administrator, Anna Kalin. And as we started breaking down the scope of work and identifying the committees needed to get the job done, I started feeling a bit more confident. Then along came your certified American grown members accepting positions on the committees and on the board, meeting sometimes twice a week, researching in between, fleshing out the requests for proposals. And when the RFP started coming in, we had researching their work and their qualifications. Then I started feeling a bit more confident. And then along came time and everything started falling into place. I hope you will remember as I introduce these players how much energy and many hours they've dedicated to get us here. Some called into meetings from their fields, their cars, their trucks, and I actually timed my travels to be near a McDonald's here in Alaska parking lot so I could get internet. Here's the lineup. Okay, so are you ready for the board members? Is that what we're ready for here?
We've already introduced them, but if you'd like to do it again briefly.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay. If you've already got that done, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so now, Dave, you were Co-Claver. I guess oh no, Michael's going to come on. Michael, you're going to come on and talk about asset transfer?
Sure. So I guess just for those people that are new to this discussion, we all recognize that the certified American grown came out of the efforts and investment of the California Cut Flower Commission. Unfortunately, the California Cut Flower Commission did not pass the referendum in March, which has been consuming the time of several of us as we wrap up operations there. The California Cut Flower Commission was and is a state organization. We were put in place by a vote of the growers. However, we are serving at the pleasure of the state. And as such, within the state statute, there are directions in which the assets that are generated and developed by the California Flower Commission can be dispersed. And really, there's only two ways that that can happen. One is that we redistribute any cash back to the growers on a prorated basis based on their contributions to the organization, I believe, over the last year. Or the second way is to give assets of significance to the Key Kitayama Research Foundation. The Key Kitayama Research Foundation is an organization that was developed probably about 25 years ago to focus on the research aspects of the California floral industry. It was founded and named after Key Kitayama, who was really the father of the California Cut Flower Commission and the driving force behind getting it into place in the beginning. Key was very passionate about research. He was very passionate about the evolution of our industry, and it was just a natural offset for us to create the Key Kitayama Research Foundation. It is an endowment. It has a fund that generates interest, and that interest is then used to fund grants and projects focused on the industry. So, long-winded story. At the end of the day, as we wrap up our business of the California Cut Flower Commission, we are in the position to distribute the assets of significance to either the growers or the Kitayama Foundation. One of the key assets is the trademark of the Certified American Grown. It's really not very easily determined on what the value is, although it should be very significant. And so at this point in time, the trademark for Certified American Grown, as well as a number of other significant assets, are going to be held for the next few years by the Key Kitayama Research Foundation, and then determined how best to move those wherever they may need to be moved at that point in time. There's a number of minor assets that are not of significance, and so the state allows us to transfer those to the Certified American Grown effort, and those really are mostly items like support items for the Field of Ace dinners, some decorations, and a few things like that. So that's currently the status of the Cut Flower Commission wrap up and the movement of assets. And we're all excited about what the future holds for Certified American Grown, and looking forward to doing really good things. I think that wraps it up. Did I miss anything, Dave or Rita Jo?
I don't think you missed anything, Mike. I just wondered if we have any questions from the general members.
Well, read it.
No, I don't see any questions at this point in the chat.
You decided to put them in your chat, okay? Are you getting any questions?
Not yet.
Okay, okay, Michael.
We can
So
address
Michael,
that too.
I'm sorry?
We can address questions at the end too. So
Okay, okay. So Michael, did you mention that we'll be leasing some of those things from Kitayama? Did you talk about that?
no, I didn't. But the Kitayama Foundation will be licensing the use of the logo and the branding so that all the legal aspects of that are dealt with appropriately.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on then. Thank you very much, Mike. We really appreciate it. And we really appreciate the support. We would definitely not be able to do this without the support of CCFC. So thank you. We're going to move on now to Dave Pruitt, who's going to talk. No, I'm sorry. We're going to move on along now to Co Claver, who's going to talk about our missions and visions.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. This is the general members meeting, of course, at the Certified American Grown. I just want to recognize a few folks here that I see in the attendees participant. Ron Illingworth over at Fairbanks, Alaska is here. Patrick Bush is here with us. Leah Rosen. Jill Russell from Boreal Peonies. Fred from Wingerden I see on here. I see Felicia Alvarez on here. Chad Anderson from Colorado is on here. And then I see a couple of phone numbers, an 805 area code, a 720 area code, a 512 area code, and then Rita on her phone as well there. Really what we want to talk about here is, and I'm just going to give you a brief history, if you don't mind. If I go way back to 2010, there was a specialty cut flower growers meeting in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a lady there at that time by the name of Vicky Stamback, who had a vision to do more in promoting and of the flowers of domestic grown flower farmers. At that point, we had discussions there. I got to meet with several ladies that came out of Alaska that wanted to start growing peonies, and I do remember that very clearly. Then in 2011, Andrea Gagnon and I and myself got the opportunity to host the ACFG conference in the DC area. And we wanted to get together at that point. That didn't work out because we couldn't get it in the agenda. So in 2012, when the meeting of ACFG moved over to Tacoma, Washington, that's where we decided, well, let's do it a day before the ACFG conference, and we did a workshop there. That is at the point where Casey Cronquist and the California Cut Flower Commission representation came in as well, got invited. That's really where the momentum on this organization got started. We did not have a name for it. I looked back in some of my history notes that I filed, and it was called, Flower Marketing Promotion Workshop. We had folks there from all over the country, including Alaska. I know Ron Illingsworth was part of that. Rita Joe was there, Andrea, myself, and a whole bunch of other folks, Frank Karnowski. What happened at that point is that's when we started developing this thing out, and that became American Grown, which at that point, under the auspices and the help of our friends of the California Cut Flower Commission, became Certified American Grown. Until this year, when we had to find out that we had to get started on our own feet. We basically got kicked out of the nest. It's like, okay, you're just about grown up now, so go figure this thing out. So we've had a ton of meetings here. One of the meetings that we had, which I think was strategically very important, was the strategic planning vision meeting. We were able to select a lady that could help us and guide us in that, and we started right after Labor Day weekend. And out of that, there were words, there were phrases, there were some filtering going on there, and that's where this vision came out of, where we had to have a healthy, sustainable, and prosperous American-grown cut flower and greens farming community. That is our vision. That is our vision for the American flower and cut flower and green farmers, is to have a healthy, sustainable, and prosperous community together. That is us. That's us unified. And now, how do we get to that vision is, of course, by having our mission there. And if Anna can move over to the next, oh no, I got to roll up my slide too here because I got two screens going on. So our mission here is really, when we started filtering this out, is to ensure the survival and the thriving future of American cut flower and greens farmers. That's what we're finding out is what we started really, when we started dialing in onto this, it's like, man, we're in this for our survival. We are in this to be able to thrive. We are in this for our future. We are in this together as American flower farmers. We are in this together as American flower farmers, but also the green farmers. Our friends in Florida that are growing all these filler greens and these Christmas greens, they're all part of our bouquets, are just as big of a part of this flower farming community as we are, that is putting all the colors material out there in the bouquets. So that's what we find out. And what we found out, that's our vision and our mission. through this whole process, we were able to really dial into some of our core values. And those core values really clearly started coming to the top when we started working through this whole process. And we really dialed in on these. And here are some of the words that came out on top. One of it, the main was unity, being united as flower farmers. If we are not united, we will get picked apart and spit out in this industry. We're a very tight industry. We're a very close-knit industry. We all know each other. I know just about everybody here personally that's part of this webinar right now, this meeting here. But we have to be unified. Otherwise, we will get picked apart in this industry. It's a big boys game, a big girls game, as I call it. Credibility is huge. We have to be having the credibility as flower farmers. How we do that is, of course, through our certification process of Certified American Grown. That's why we have a third-party provider that will help us certifying the farms that are part of this organization. Our engagement is huge. We're engaged with each other here. You know, we're coast to coast. We're all filling different parts of this industry, different seasons, different products, different part of product lines. So it's very important that we're engaged with each other. We have a professionalism and a professional aspect to us. We are the ones that fill the pipeline in our industry for the American consumers. We are called to be professional. We are professional. The one that's huge to me is passion. I'm all about passion because I found out if the passion is there, we'll figure out a way to get it done. And I've known and seen through the 30 years I've been doing this here. When I came to the States as a 20-year-old FFA, Future Farmers of America student, and I was supposed to be for 6 months, and 30 years later, I'm still here. It's the passion that will drive us. It will impact what we're doing. It will impact your business. It will impact your relationships amongst each other. It will impact what we do towards the American consumer. It will impact even the folks we're dealing with in Washington, D.C. that represent us. And we'll get into that a little bit more as well. The leadership is huge. That's our board of directors right here. We're the ones that is supposed to lead and steer this organization into this maturity, into a healthy organization, coast to coast, border to border, nationwide. And really, the only way we'll do that is through being accountable. We need to be accountable to each other. We need to be accountable as an industry. We need to be committed as an industry. And I think we all are. Really what I'm calling all of you on is that through these core values and the things that we're doing is if you see any issues, any matters whatsoever, I mean, you can always call on me. I'm on the board right now, but I want to make sure that we're accountable to each other, that we're committed to each other, that we are result-oriented as an organization. I don't know how many of you have been part of organizations that are not result-oriented. I have called it the whirlpool of mediocrity, you know, the committees after committees after committees. And then when you're all said and done, you look at your notes and you're like, what did I spend my time on this last hour and a half? I don't want to have that happen. I want our organization, we want our organization to be result-oriented. We want to be able to achieve and to have a legacy that we leave behind for our next generation. You know, that we have a healthy cut flower and cut greens organization in the United States that can stand tall on his feet, that can stand proud on his feet, that can be proudly waving his flag that, hey, we're supplying the American consumers with domestically grown, American grown flower farmers, and we can show it off, and we can show it off proudly with a certified logo, and we can stand on that. So that is what we are all about. This is what Certified American Grown is all about. To market this, to promote this, to engage this, to have an advocacy for this into our legislative leaderships on a state, county, national level, and to really be able to make our organization as professional as possible, and folks in the industry, in the floriculture, horticulture, agriculture industry know that we are an impacting organization that knows what they're doing, and they want to be part of this, either as a farmer that's certified, as an affiliate member, as an associate member, as a supporting member, whatever that will be. And I'm just excited and proud of this organization, to be real honest with you, because I think this is exciting that I've seen ACFG happening. I've seen American Hort when that got into merge. This is another big one that we're doing right now. So I'm proud to be part of it. And Rita Jo, I'm going to turn this back over to you. And I probably went too long.
Thank you so much, Co. You know, if we were all together in some big room, we'd all be standing up now and clapping for you. You're just a totally invaluable person. Thank you so much. In case he wasn't introduced a while ago as our industry liaison, that is his role. Thank you again, Cole. Okay, we had a couple of bylaw changes. And by the way, these bylaws just didn't happen by themselves. This was another committee that spent hours and hours and hours coming up with the bylaws. But as is with any new organization, there were a couple things we overlooked. So David, would you tell us a little bit about the two things we needed to vote on? And maybe Anna can give us an update on how many we needed and how many have voted and where we are. Looks like she might already have it here. Anyway, David?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rita Jo. Yeah, as Rita Jo said, you know, it took a group of us to come up with these bylaws, and it seems like so long ago that I started. Going back when I realized that the Cut Flower Commission was not going to continue, I created a trust account with our attorney, and that's where we started working on this. This was back in April, and put the bylaws together so that we could start Certified American Grown. And in the process, like Rita Jo said, I just missed a couple of things that are very important in terms of how we make up our membership today and in the future. And as everybody, I think, knows and understands, that bylaws of an organization, especially like ours, are living documents. So they can be changed and amended by the board of directors, and then it just needs to be approved by the general membership. So these were just two obvious things that we left out. Would be the wholesale members, which we already have a couple of them, and had been working on that membership for some time. And then in the future, we do want to be able to create a membership for floral retailers and designers. So these have been sent out to all the members to vote on. And once we have that vote in and these amendments are approved, then that will be where we start off with our bylaws, and they will be submitted, and we will get our final tax ID, and that will be the final process that we have to do to be completed as a new organization. And do you have an update, Anna, on the votes, or is that?
Yes, so we're at 14 votes right now, and then after the meeting, I will be sending out a reminder. And it's really important to get our bylaws finished, because once we do that, we'll be able to file for tax exempt status and be able to take any contributions online. So until we have that, we cannot do that.
Anna, can we take contributions by check, or is it just
Yes.
online? Oh,
Yes.
okay, so we can't take them on, we can't advertise online until we get our status done. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
So you've got 14 and you need 20, is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, so we need 6 more you guys out there to hit the vote button and take care of that this afternoon.
Yes, a lot of them are board members that are still need to vote. So it's people on the call with us.
Okay,
Where
perfect.
is the button for the board members?
I'll
Anna,
send
where's
it
the
out.
button? He said. She'll send it out. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much. Okay. Fantastic. So, okay, I guess we're going to save the questions for later unless Co interrupts and says there's a question at that time. So everybody, I hope everybody sees how they can ask questions on the chat. I'm sorry that I was late checking in. I had 2 techies and 3 computers here. I'm at Land's End at the Homer Spit here in Homer, Alaska, and we just couldn't make anything work. We started in the wee hours. So, okay, so we're going to move along then to our wonderful committees that I talked to you about before. These, I think, I was told 8 committees. At one time we had 9 committees. I think one of them has got their job done. But these committees and our 2 staff people, Dave and Anna, have just been working around the clock. And you're going to see now what all they have accomplished. We're going to start off with Frank Arnosky, who is our government affairs person, which of course government affairs is one of the most important things that we stand for. Frank?
All right, thank you. I just try and do it briefly because we've got a lot more to cover here. I just want to mention that when I first started in this organization, when Casey asked me to do this and get on this, this was all about the brand. I thought it was just going to be about the marketing. I had no idea how much work was going on in the governmental affairs side of the CCFC. And I got invited to the very first fly-in to go into Washington, D.C., and I was swept away. It was so much fun, and we got so much done, and it just really felt like you made a difference when you go to that thing. So as much as I encourage you to use the brand if you're not already using it, I realized quickly that it was more than just the brand. And one of the things that's now happened with the dissolution of the CCFC is we have inherited the responsibility from the CCFC to be the organization that represents American flower and greens farmers in Washington. And that's an enormous responsibility. It's huge because there's so much we have to do to get our name out there. We have to make sure we're getting recognition. And in the floriculture industry, we tend to take a back seat to the corn and soybean guys and the beef guys. But really, I've read some statistics that say that the floriculture industry is the #3 cash crop in the country after corn and soybeans in terms of dollar value. And we certainly employ a lot more people per acre. So we have to always make sure that's known. We were really lucky to inherit from the California Cut Flower Commission their legal team of Jumana, a one-woman legal team, Jumana Misley with Enva Strategy, and she sets up all of our connections with the Washington, D.C. world, and Jumana has been fantastic. Many of you have seen her weekly legislative updates that she comes through, and it's just packed with information. I'm amazed at how much she can come up with. But she is incredible in setting up just dozens and dozens of appointments. When we go to the fly-in, she makes connections with USDA and USAID. She keeps our name on the table when things are being discussed about industry support and industry assistance. So it's been really, really important that we keep this contact with Jumana in Washington, D.C., and that's become our responsibility. It's not inexpensive. It takes a fair bit of money to do that, but I think a lot of the people who have gotten assistance from CFAP and the PPP program will agree that it has been well worth it to keep her on because it's kept our name in the game. Just a quick note on the fly-in. For those of you who haven't been to a fly-in, you see a picture there of all of us in front of the Capitol. We fly in literally and meet one night, and by the next morning, we are scattering around like termites, going through all the underground chambers of the office buildings and popping up in various different state legislative offices or national for each state, and it is great fun. I go into the Alaskans and they give me a hard time for being in the second largest state in the union, but aside from that, it's really amazing fun. And we get great recognition. We go into these offices and people say, oh, it's the flower people, and they're so excited to see us. And our legal team years ago said, no other industry gets that. We're the only people that get a really enthusiastic response. They really like to see us there. So through that, we have to move this forward now that we're the CAG and not the CCFC, and we are now going to be the one organization that represents national cut flower and greens growers. So it's a big responsibility. Some of the really important things that we accomplished this year, we were in DC just before the COVID crisis hit, and we literally kind of got out just in time. And a huge amount of stuff was done. We were able to reestablish the NASS annual floriculture survey, which is important because if the Department of Agriculture doesn't know we exist, then we don't get included in programs for aid or for research. And so we had to fight to get ourselves back on the survey. We had really important meetings with USDA, USAID. USAID, you might remember, set up the programs in South America in the 90s that set up all the cut flower farms that compete with us. That has been a challenge ever since. And we had a meeting this year and we were able to sit down with them and get them to listen. So that was important. The Customs and Border Patrol laws, the protection and labeling laws, we have to make sure that things coming in from overseas are labeled properly. And that's one of the things we accomplished this year. We got CPB to agree to enforce those laws. We got included in the PPP relief programs and the CFAP program because specifically of our lobbying to make sure that happened. We were excluded from those programs before we got in there. So, and made a noise. So it's like Horton Hears a Who. If we don't get together and make a noise, they don't know that we're out here on our little dust speck, and we've got to make sure that happens. Other things that are really important are the First Lady's luncheon. That seems like it might be a little bit frou-frou, and my first time I thought about it is like, well, why do we have to do a luncheon? But we have all the spouses and all of the aides and all the people involved in Congress coming to this luncheon, and we do all the flowers, and the First Lady comes to this and everybody sees what we do and they're impressed, and then they go back to their offices and they say we need to support these people. So it's a very important program. The American Grown Act, that's something that we're trying to get through Congress right now, that simply states that we're going to have American grown flowers used in national events. Right now the White House is reluctant to use flowers that are strictly American, and we want to get our flowers in the White House. So that's one way we can do that, and we're making some movement on that. The expansion and size of the Cut Flower Caucus, what is that? The caucus is a group of people in Congress, in the House of Representatives, that have signed on to support us. And that's great. It seems like it's a little bit of a symbolic thing, but it's more than that. A good example is when the Rose tariff for Ecuador was released or eliminated this last month. Representative Carbajal from California stood up and said, you know, we oppose this. This is bad for our industry. And when you can get somebody from Congress who's backing you up, you get some clout. And so it's really important that we keep these things going. I would encourage everybody to use the brand, because that's our rallying point. If we don't have that brand, we don't have the one single thing that everybody's going to recognize. But then also call your congressmen, call congresswomen and senators, and just ask them to join the caucuses and lend their voice to this. It's a bipartisan program, and nobody has to feel bad about one side or the other. Go to the fly-in. You need to be there. You need to be shaking hands and knocking on doors, and ask your congresspeople to support the American Grown Act. So those are really key items for what we're doing here for the cut flower and greens industry. We're carrying the ball now, so that's a big responsibility. So thanks a lot.
Well, thank you, Frank. I imagine everybody out there in the audience now is starting to see why I'm so impressed with all these committee members. They're just phenomenal. We're just really, really fortunate to have all these people on our side. The next committee we're going to talk about is promotion and marketing, and our new chair is Rhody Groot. And this is a brand new committee, and there's 15 people on it. We needed a lot of people on it because, of course, this is another very important point of what we're all about. Rhody, take it away.
All righty, thank you, Rita. The committee is new to Certified American Grown, but this committee already existed with CCFC. So I myself was part of the committee back in 2014 when the current logo was developed. So we got a little history there as well. So, and much of the history as explained by Coach Klaver. So I second what Frank Aronofsky was saying there, as to we need to participate within this organization in order for this organization to be working for us, so as American flower farmers and as American green farmers. So it does not happen just because none of us are paid. So, so on the promotion committee, we had our first meeting this last Monday, and part of it is just more gathering information as to what it is that we need to work on. We have here, as it's shown on the slide, all the different things that we're working on. But it's how do we get there? So, and also understanding it is not just the big farmers, it's also the small farmers. So it's not a one size fits all. So, so that is the kind of where we are at this moment. So we did create an additional committee, the subcommittee, and which is for the American Grown Flower Month. As we all know, that is in July. So, and this has been already ongoing under the CCFC umbrella for the last couple of years. I can truly say as Sun Valley, where we've been doing with some big box operators, it's been very, very successful, where these operators have had 20 to 30% growth year over year, just by using a certified American grown within the month of July. Like what we say, who does not want an increase in sales in the month of July? What we'll be working on, we'll be working on merchandise that can be used within stores, in retail stores, and we also need to be creating merchandise that can be used by the smaller farmers into smaller retail stores and towards the end consumer. We also need to create a more consistent marketing material that can be used for social media, so that we're all sending out the same message. But that's about where we are at this moment with the promotion committee. Then we have the subcommittees for the website that is Andrea Kagman, and we have social media with Diana Roy. So we'll pass it off to Andrea.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea from Linville Studios in Gainesville, Virginia. I am the chair of the website committee. I don't know, I'll talk a little bit about the history of the website. I think 6 or 7 years ago, it started out as a blog. It's been rather cut and pasted over time. And I think when you begin to see the level of clarity in the vision and mission, we needed a virtual home for CAG that reflected that kind of clarity about what we're about. We needed a place online that would communicate with the consumer, with the trade, with advocacy. We had to tick a lot of boxes. So in September, we began this process of looking at redesigning, but we first did a lot of intensive meetings. I can't tell you how many, to evaluate what was most important to us, what wasn't working on our website, what was, and even then branching out into looking at websites that we thought might be good fits, had functionality that we wanted to see, but all over we wanted something that clearly communicated to the American consumer what we're about at every level. We worked tirelessly to develop an RFP, sent it out to 8 different website design firms, and received 6 responses. We picked the top 4 for a variety of reasons, and then did interviews and very involved kind of discussions on picking the number one, our number one choice, which was IMW. We started that process several weeks, the IMW process several weeks ago, and we are now working on the architecture of the site. So in these meetings, we've been discussing what's been important to us. We went through this process again with IMW, all the things that we wanted to see in this site, and they had begun translating it into how is this going to function. And I think for all of us on the committee, there was like a universal, we need clarity in navigation, clarity for every person coming to the site to be able to quickly get to where they need to go within one click. I think the old site, which was, you know, understandably kind of cut and pasted, you kind of had to dig a bit to get to certain information. So we are most excited about a few different areas. First, I think as the farmer members, having a filterable directory of farms, so that very clean design, sort of modern in look, but to be able to filter by state, perhaps by crop, by shipping, and have that all be clearly available to either retail buyers, wholesale buyers. Basically, we want everyone coming to the site to be able to find our members quickly. We're also including a private member area where we will all, as members, be able to update our listing on the site. And also within that private member area will be all communications from Certified American Grown, kind of a place sort of to a bulletin board where we can all go to either connect with other members, but also to review any legislative or governmental affairs announcements, all those things. We'll have kind of this private area for that. I think it also, we're building into the design the ability to have listings for affiliate members. We talked about adding new members potentially in the future for florists. So this is going to be a place where our community is really celebrated, and where our story as flower and greens farmers is told beautifully, cleanly, clearly. So we are right in the process of this wireframe development section. And once we finalize all these navigation issues, how the menus work, how everything connects to each other, then IMW is going to work in tandem with us, I think, extracting the content from the existing site, and also all of the new work that's been done in the strategic planning to make sure that the messaging is simply and clearly stated, and that it's consistent throughout the site. I think the other thing that we would like to see more clearly represented is all the membership details. You know, what type, how much does it cost to be a member? Try to answer some of those questions, basically to build our membership. We want a place where you, as current members, can point other farms that might be interested in joining, and they can get some of their questions answered clearly online. Also a place to celebrate our field of ACE events, all of our many events that we're involved with. We're so fortunate to have beautiful content. I mean, just thousands of photographs of so many events. So I think perhaps we're lucky in that way. So now we're looking to IMW to help in the design phase of this, which is coming up soon. We hope that this whole effort will launch mid-January. So that's our goal. It's pretty exciting. So I'm excited. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, I don't know, Diana, you're next up to talk about social media, but I don't know if you're getting the ask for unmute. No. No.
While we're waiting for her to come online, Cole was trying to put up something about the government affairs and the fly-in. Is that correct, Cole?
Well, really, what I was saying, Rita, and that was in the chat part of this item here, is normally we meet in Washington, D.C. the last week of February, and I just briefly looked at the calendar, and normally that would look on week 8, which is February 22nd through 25th, but it's not formalized yet. But if you want to plug a time frame in your calendar, set it aside, then that'd be the most apt one to set aside.
Yeah, just go ahead, Frank.
It's unlikely that we'll have a fly-in this year, but Jumana has been trying to work with us on setting up virtual fly-ins and a so-called dial-up advocacy. And her suggestion is to wait until January of 2021 and to make some decisions on how we're going to set up a kind of a virtual way to connect with our representatives in our offices there. So we're taking a wait and see on that one, but it doesn't look like anything will happen this February.
All right. Thank you, Frank.
Just to add on to that real quick, we have got some information from a company that specializes in events like a fly-in and converting them to being virtual. And so we're experimenting with that and having discussions with them. And it looks like we will plan on having it be virtual this year for sure.
For sure, probably.
Yes.
No, well, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Diana's unable to connect for audio. I'll just give a little brief update. So much like the website committee with the social media committee, we sent out several RFPs and we had several proposals come in and we evaluated them. And then based on criteria and example posts, we decided, and for continuity, we decided to go with IMW. So they will be taking over our social media management in the new year.
Thank you, Anna. Great job, social media. I'm totally excited about not just social media, about promotion and marketing. I'm really excited about what's going to be coming out of that committee. Such a vital committee. Okay, so we're going to move on to membership and Michael Genovese. I'm anxious today. Michael, are you telling the truck driver where to go? Are you out in the valley of field? Or where
I
are
am
you right
actually
now?
sitting at my computer. Normally
wow.
for our board meetings, I am out in the field or actively doing something. But no, I'm sitting at my computer and ready to go. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Michael Genovese from Summer Dreams Farm in Oxford, Michigan. I hear everyone sharing their stories about their time in the industry, and I'm one of the younger ones in the group. I started my farm in 2015, but I've got a long history in agriculture. I grew up on a farm, and I'm really excited to be on the board representing growers throughout the Midwest. But I wanted to talk about membership today. I'm the chair of the membership committee. And an organization like Certified American Grown is only as strong as its membership. The more members that we have that belong to our organization, the more of an impact we can have. Whether that's facing and representing American flower farmers and greens growers when we go down to Washington, D.C., as Frank was talking about, or offering us the financial ability to share our story with the story of our industry with more people across the country. Having a robust and engaged membership is vital to the future of our organization. Over the last several months, the membership committee has sat down and identified a path to recruiting more members. It requires each one of us, both on the board and all current members, to reach out to others in the flower farming community and express the importance of joining our organization. And for me, that and as a committee, and I think we would all agree, that starts with having a conversation. When I was first introduced to the Certified American Grown back in 2015, I met Casey Conquest at a Field of Ace dinner here in Detroit. I had experience in other agricultural organizations when we spoke, and I recognized the importance of what this group stands for and what we're trying to accomplish, both from a policy side and sharing our story with the public. I'm sure many of you out there have a similar story of how you became involved in the organization, and it really points out the importance of having a conversation when we're trying to get new members to join our organization. Over the next months, I challenge each member of this group to reach out to at least one other potential member about joining and getting involved in the organization. And I really can't stress that enough. The future of our organization relies on growing and recruiting new members and getting more people involved. Another challenge that we identified was there was no good way to share all of the things our organization does or what we represent. From the very successful Field of Ace dinners or our huge wins down in Washington, D.C., like being added to CFAP programs, like what was mentioned before, there was no good place or document to point new potential members to for sharing these accomplishments or the other things that we do. As a committee, we've come up with a new membership brochure that will hopefully be made available to all members over the next few weeks. But I wanted to go through some of that with you today. This promotional brochure can be used as a follow-up after we have that conversation that I had talked about before. So on your screen right now, you can see what the brochure looks like. This is the cover page of the brochure. It talks about the vision and the mission that Co was talking about earlier, but advocating for our farmers and advancing America's cut flower and greens industry. Certified American Grown is a diverse and unified coalition of small to large domestic flower and greens farms across 7 regions of the United States. Our mission is to ensure the survival and thriving future of the American flower and greens farmer. Here's a look at the impact of what we do. Basically, be part of the voice of American and flower and greens farmers. I'm going to abbreviate this. I don't want to read the whole thing to you, but it shows a lot of information that we talk about as members of the organization, but was never really clearly articulated. And part of what we're working on with the website is sharing this information, but to have something to actually hand people is what you're looking at here. The importance of why we exist, and showing some of the trends of what have happened over the years. That's the one piece that hasn't been completed on this yet, is that graph that you see right there. We're going to be putting data points in. But we wanted to show the trend of what's happened to our industry over the last 20 or 30 years, to show why it's important for people to get involved. We talk about some of the national campaigns that we put together, the brand, what we represent as growers. One of the cool things about our organization is we represent over half of all production that takes place, floriculture production that takes place in the United States, cut flower production, I should say, not floriculture. We talk a little bit about where your dues go, whether that's government affairs, marketing, some other aspects. Our social media presence, the PMA meetup that happens every year. You can go to the next page, Anna. Our presence on the Hill, arguably this is one of the most important things that we do as an organization. Talks about some of the wins, some of the different activities that are going on down there. The Cut Flower Caucus, the American Grown Month, Certified American Grown Month, all different things like that. List of different benefits of being a member, and then also importantly, talking about the dues structure. There were some small changes, some changes that were made to the dues structure, and obviously if someone's interested in becoming a member, we need to be communicating that. And then it'll point them to our website, and then also contact information for people that want to learn more. But I can't stress enough the importance of having a robust and active membership for an organization like ours. If we really want this group to thrive moving forward, we need to make sure that we continue to recruit more people, more farms to this organization. We're going to have a larger voice in DC. We have more credibility with the public that way. And honestly, what funds our organization, the majority of the funding of our organization is from membership dues. So if we want to continue this going, we need to actively be recruiting more members. And with that, I will, unless there's any questions, I don't know if anyone was asking anything.
I think we'll do questions at the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Michael, at this point.
Michael,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Michael, for this. How many hours do you think you and the group and Anna put in to bring this beautiful document together?
Oh, man, Anna and I were working until, well, it was almost midnight my time on this document, that brochure, and then I know she's put in many hours after that. But on the committee over the last couple months, I would say I've probably put in 30, 40 hours of time trying to get all this stuff together and trying to move forward. And this has all been during my busiest time of the year. August, September, October are by far my busiest times of the year. And that's when we've been putting most of this together. So it's been a challenge, but I really believe in this cause. I really believe in this organization. For me, the policy side of what our organization is doing is incredibly important. I mean, as Frank said, just the CFAP alone, if you guys haven't looked at CFAP 2.0 especially, I highly suggest that you do. The financial impact that can have on our farms, I mean, that would pay for your membership dues for years and years to come. So, I mean, this organization, it's providing real value to its members, and I believe in it wholeheartedly. And hopefully we can share that message and get more people on board.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Anna, would you mind going back to the slide for field-based dinners? And I was going to ask Dave, yes, thank you, if he has anything he'd like to add about this special event. Are you on there, Mr. Pruitt?
Yes.
I am. Thank you. Yeah, we can't forget Field the Vase. That is our premier event that we put on, and was really excited about what we were going to be able to do in 2020 before COVID hit. We had retooled a lot of it, done work on developing a new sponsorship deck for the events. We were getting a higher level of sponsorship coming in, and we had changed the events to hopefully work ourselves towards them being profitable and providing not only a great marketing event that we had been creating, but also a source of income. It was amazing that we had taken our primary event that starts off every year, the flower fields in Carlsbad. We had created assigned seating, which had never been done before. And we actually increased the ticket sales for that particular dinner by 25%. Nobody questioned anything that we had done, and it sold out in a record amount of time in 6 days. So we know that we have the ability to make this event something completely different and something that will help bring revenue into CAG once we can get back and operate in a normal condition. And that's one of the things that we're looking at too, is making sure that within COVID restrictions that we don't decrease the quality of this event. So we're always trying to manage that aspect and keep that balanced. For whenever we can start again, we're on the books for Carlsbad. And if we can start the events again, we will be starting in Carlsbad in April 15th is the date that we're on the books for. And 5 out of the 6 events that we were going to do last year want to do it again. And when I said we had some exciting events, one of them was going to be in the mountains in Washington State with a view of Mount St. Helens. So we had some logistic challenges that we were excited about working through also. So, if we can get up and going again, it's going to be an amazing event series like it has been in the past always. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're still a little bit of in a holding pattern because of the restrictions from the pandemic. So thanks for bringing me back in, Rita, Joe, and let's catch back up with where we were. So that would be certification. Yeah, FJ.
Yeah. You know, if you ever wanted anybody to come beat somebody up, I don't mean that physically, but I mean argue your side and be successful, I would call on FJ. FJ is our certification person, and he's just done a phenomenal job with his committee. FJ?
Thanks, Rita Joe. And I couldn't have done it with my cohort Co. He's good at beating people up also. So you need a good wingman called Co. So I think the good thing is we had a good conversation with where food comes from for our third-party origin certification, and realized that it was important for us to do it, but the costs seemed a little bit out of line. So we were able to renegotiate, got a much better contract for ourselves for 2021, which I think we're all excited about. We're going to be taking over a lot of the responsibility for the customer service and billing starting the beginning of the new year, which we think is going to help the process, make it a lot easier for new farms to come on board, make it a much more friendly experience for them. And this just for us to own the communication, make sure it happens in a very timely manner. And we set realistic expectations of when stuff's going to get done. So we're excited about that. And we will be contacting you for a recertification when the time comes, and then relaying that information on to where food comes from.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be moving right along now to Beth Van Sant, who is thankfully upstairs here at Land's End covering for me, we are at the annual conference for the State of Alaska Farm Bureau. So she's not going to be here. She's upstairs covering for me, but she is in charge of the Oversight Committee, which is a brand new committee, which hasn't even met yet. But the responsibilities of this committee are going to be to safeguard our trademarks and our logos. So they'll be going around checking out and make sure that anybody that's got maybe a sleeve at the grocery store that says certified American grown on it, they'll be making sure that they really are certified. So it's a very important committee, and they're just getting started now. So, and then secondly, Rita Anders, are you on, Rita? This is also a brand new committee.
Yes, she's here.
Yes, I'm here.
You want to tell us a little bit about your committees?
Okay, well, I just have what Anna has sent me so far. I first of all want to say thank y'all for welcoming me to be on the board. And this is the committee I'm in charge of. It's contributions and sponsorships. And the duties are to implement annual contribution and sponsorship campaigns to line up with goals for program and events, maintain relationships throughout the year with key sponsors and contributors, track amounts annually and historically, supervise timely distribution of benefits, and ask for additional members for this committee, which I need.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Welcome, Rita, to the board, and welcome to the two new contributions and sponsorship committees. I know you're gonna do a good job. Okay, so Dave, you want to talk to us again about membership benefits and the new dues structure, which, by the way, was another really time-consuming battle that we went through to get here. Dave?
All right. Hey, Rita, I inserted a little bit information about our contributions. Since we talked about the contribution committee, we now have a contribution form that's available. And then this is our contribution levels along with the benefits that go along with those contributions.
Okay, and Anna, we have a couple people standing by waiting for us to take their money. Is that correct?
Yes, and then also we want to thank the companies that have already given us money. We have Be Fresh Floral at the heritage level. We have Ball Horticulture at the partner level. Continental Floral Greens, Drama Nectar, Alaskan Farm Bureau, and Pyramid Flowers at the contributing level.
Yeah, so we have hardly started, so we know that we're going to get a lot of benefactors as soon as we get our bylaws done and we get the rest of our stuff tidied up.
Yes.
Okay, now Dave, member benefits and new dues.
Well, we really wanted everybody to understand that they belong to an organization that only represents the interests of American cut flower and greens farmers. And that's the most important group to all of us, because that's where we live every day. We have a powerful voice in Washington, D.C., and we want to increase domestic flower and greens market share and protect farmland and preserve our floricultural heritage. So we get updates on current flower and greens governmental policy affecting our industry. We influence legislators and policymakers to establish a fair marketplace and collaborate and network with our fellow farmers. So those are just really, some of the general benefits that you're going to get, that our members get from Certified American Grown. And Anna made some nice graphics there to kind of, show those a little bit differently. And then along with that, we have the opportunities that come in as member benefits for all the events and activities that we have. And those would, including hosting a field of ace dinners. I created on our sponsorship deck that members get discounts, and farms that are hosting get discounts and get a lot more exposure market-wise compared to in the past. We get access to Certified American Grown brand and origin labeling which has proven results of expanding market. Connect with consumers with differentiated homegrown products, communicate the importance of the benefits of buying American grown flowers and greens, an inclusion in the national awareness campaign through social media, consumer education, and market differentiation, in the farmer spotlights on our social media channels, farm profile listings on our website, and opportunities to post on bulletin boards in member-only areas, and discounts from our affiliate partners. So, you know, one of the examples, like on our affiliate partners, which is still a young program, is Oasis Floral Life, where they've created a special pricing and ordering process for certified American Grown members. You buy 12 cases, or you buy 10 cases and you get 2 additional cases free. And on top of that, 10% of the price goes back to certified American Grown. So that's what our affiliate program is based on. And we're looking at working with more companies to develop that. Then we go on to farm membership dues, which is our new structure for this coming year of 2021. Some of it is very much the same as it has been in the past. You'll see our micro, small, medium farms, and then you get into large and what we call volume farms, which those have been changed to some degree. So you can see that our volume farms, which are much larger farms in the industry, are going to be, you know, heavily supporting all of the programs and the work that CAG does in marketing and in government advocacy. So that shows you right there the new dues structure, which includes certification. So the initial membership fee is, you know, a little bit higher on the first year for setup and the start of the certification. And then after that, it reduces, but still substantial way of increasing our income into the membership, because that's going to be our most important source of income for the organization, is going to be the membership. We hope that in the future that we can create a like a grant program that would be to help smaller farms become members. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at. We're looking at a lot of other aspects of membership benefits. So it'll be constantly evolving and improving. A lot of this information will be more available once we get our website complete. And so that's kind of where we are on the benefits and membership dues. And hopefully if anybody has any questions, please send them in and I'll personally get to them and answer them. One of the things that we've been working heavily on is obviously projected budgets. You know, up until December 31st of this year, the California Cut Flower Commission has been heavily sponsoring our development. Anna and I both work for the commission, but you know, for lack of a better term, are loaned out to Certified American Grown. So they're paying for all the work that her and I are doing for Certified American Grown, along with a number of the programs and expenses that we've been going through to set up our organization. So the board and the membership in California is 100% behind making sure that Certified American Grown becomes a stable organization with a good start. So what you see on this slide is our income. Oh, and I'd like to say that Renee Van Weerden is our current treasurer, but he just took over that spot. So I offered to present this to him since I was more familiar with our budget than he has, but he is our treasurer and is getting up to speed with everything that we're doing. So this particular slide is our income. So that shows you our total income that we're projecting and where it comes from. And as with all budgets, there is a certain amount of projection going on. The farm dues themselves are based on current membership. And so we have a lot of potential to expand that. And wholesaler dues, we do have a couple of wholesalers, and I know that we have we have some more wholesalers that are interested. Same with associate members. I just signed up, got a new associate member interested in our association yesterday. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's done between now and through 2021. We are actively working on grants. So that's another thing. Most of the grants I think that we will work on will be available to us at the end of 2021 because of just the timing issue, but we will have grants that will help us with certain projects. But as with all grants, you need to cash flow them. So that's one of the things that we need to manage.
And I'm not sure if we're gonna have time to go through everything line by line.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, we've only got about
Yeah.
10 minutes left here, so.
Okay, go ahead to the next slide. That shows you our expenses. So our main program expenses, government affairs, and our promotion and marketing, and the total there at the bottom. And then the next slide, Anna, is our operational expenses, certification fees that we pay to where food comes from, and our personnel expenses. So we go to the very bottom. Then that shows you our total expenses versus our projected income with a net revenue of $36,000 at the end of 2021. And so we are hoping that that net revenue is actually higher than that by the end of 2021. So I'm sure there'll be a number of people that'll have questions on that. So we'll be able to get to them and answer them later.
Yes.
Yeah. Who has the
I
election
do.
result? Okay,
I
there you
do. All right. So we had our election for the board of directors that will be incoming in January. Everyone's terms begin January 1st, 2021. The years, the length of the term is staggered between the board members, just so that all the board members don't come due for elections at the same time. So I'm just going to go through each of the districts now. So we have District 1, Rita Jo Schultz will be joining us again in District 1. In District 2, we've got Diana Roy, Farai Mudziva, Lane DeVries, Mike Milano, and Renee Van Wingerden. And Farai is a new board member. And then in District 3, we have FJ coming back for District 3. District 4, we have a new face, Rita Anders is going to be the board member for that district. District 5, we've got Michael Genovese from Summer Dream Farms. And District 6, we have Andrea Gagnon returning. And then District 7, we've got David Register and Eric Hagstrom.
Okay, so are we ready for questions and answers then?
I have one extra slide I put in
Okay.
regarding the associate members and the affiliate program. So Rita Jo, I thought maybe you could explain a little bit about the list of the 62 and
Okay.
how important it is to have associate members that can strengthen the relationship between our farms and our support services.
Sure, Anna, thank you. So I spent some time going through all the magazines and see who was advertising and who's in our industry that maybe I didn't know. And I came up with a list of 62. People were calling it the list of 62. It's gotten quite famous now. And these people are targeted for more than one position. They're targeted because they're our friends and they probably want to be benefactors. So we look at them and we see if they want to be an associate, which is $500 a year, and there's some benefits that go along with that. And then there's also the affiliate program, which I think Dave talked a little bit about earlier, people that like the Flora Life program where you buy 10 cases, you get 2 free, and they give us a 10% royalty fee. So we're looking for those. We have a lot of those in the works right now. We're just trying to make sure that we've got all of our ducks in line before we start taking all these. Is that kind of what you had in mind, Anna?
Yeah, and just to encourage members that if you have a support service or a company or a contact or some kind of connection that would be interested in becoming an associate member, please contact me so I can get the form to you and we can get them up and running. And then they get to use the pretty seal.
Yes, we got this. We got the new seal with the R on it for registered on there.
Yeah,
I keep arguing it needs-
TM on because it's
Oh,
not
it's
registered
TM
yet.
on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any questions from the group? Code, do you have any questions?
Rita Joe, I don't see any questions in the Q&A. In the chat version, there are no questions except for people asking where can we get the affiliate and the associate member application forms. That can be requested from administration.
That's
and-
right. They just get in touch with Anna, and it's all ready. And we've got talking points to help you work with the folks and answers for them. We just got, that's like a 4-page document. We just got that done this week. So that'll be perfect.
And for everybody online, the affiliate program is, you have to be an associate member first, and then the affiliate is one of the benefits of being an associate member. So that's where we would all start.
And they also have to be an American manufacturer too. So, but Anna, could you put your email address up real quick for us so they know how to get in touch with you?
It's just info@americangrownflowers.org or
Okay.
Anna with 2 N's.
.org, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
.org. Okay, so if that's it, we've got 2 minutes left to be on time. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Rita Joe, before we have a motion to adjourn, I think it would be wise if you could explain why the districts in Florida and one in California on the West Coast have more than one representative on the board. I don't think all members are aware of how that works.
Okay, it's based on your sales volumes, and we get that from the NASS report every year. So California, of course, is our largest cut flower state, and so they have one person for every, I can't remember, I think it's close to $600,000 in production. Somebody can correct me if that's the way. And in Florida, we also have 2, and in Washington, the state of Washington, we have 2, and that's also because of the volume of their sales. Anything else? Okay, let's have that adjournment.
Yes, I have one more thing, please.
Okay.
I want to point out to everybody in this meeting that all of us have been on dozens of committee meetings, but Rita Jo Schultz and Dave Pruitt and Anna Callens have been on hundreds of meetings. They've been at every one of these meetings that we all think we've had a lot, and they've had every one of them. So I just want to recognize that Rita Jo Schultz and Anna and Dave have been pulling this thing together. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. It's been my
Thanks,
honor.
Frank.
And speaking of which, board members and incoming board members, please don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Okay.
You have another meeting to go to.
Yes.
Okay, so now are we ready for our motion to adjourn? Everybody but the board members. Nobody wants to go?
I'll make that motion to adjourn. Mike
Thank you,
Genovese.
Michael. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Frank.
Rita, I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We're so happy that we were able to share with you all the hard work everybody's been doing. And we'll let you know what's happening soon with our newsletters. Stay tuned for our newsletters, and everybody can go except for the board members. Thank you again.